Hi, hello, friends. Welcome back to Night Court Narrative. I am Elvish. Hi, hello. Today we are discussing Priest by Sierra Simone. I did originally... Okay, so let me preface this really quickly. I read this book about a month and a half ago. I'm finally just now doing a video on it. At the time, I gave this book a 5-star rating. Now that I have finished the entire series, I might give this a 4.5, but I am a woman of my word, so I will continue to give this a 5-star rating. With that being said, Lego. I was thinking about possibly doing Midnight Mass in this video as well. I did DNF Midnight Mass within 2 to 3 chapters. It just was not it for me. I did give it a 1 star. I could kind of see where it's going, but I just did not enjoy it at all. So I might do Midnight Mass in this one as well. If not, I might just let it be forgotten. But let's continue. Our male main character is Tyler Bell. He is a Catholic priest in Weston, Missouri. And then we have our female main character, Poppy Danforth. I do want to give a slight disclaimer. Me personally, I am not religious. I know nothing about religion. So if I mispronounce something or if I just speak ill of something out of ignorance, I am sorry. I know nothing about it. I read this book because I was told to. And yes, so I am sorry. Yes, let's move on. So Tyler leads St. Margaret's Church, a parish recovering from the disgrace from the previous priest abusive scandal. Tyler is still recovering from the death of his sister Lizzie. She ended up committing unaliving after being abused by the original priest. Tyler does consider his priesthood as penance and purpose, which makes sense if you read the book. He takes a lot of pride in what he does, and he takes a lot of pride in his church. So he definitely goes out of his way to try and be the best person humanly possible there. Obviously, because he has a lot of people looking up towards him, and he does have a lot of growth that needs to be done. You know, the old priest ended up making this specific church go very downhill. People just didn't want anything to do with it. They didn't really fuck with this church anymore because of the negative light that was shown on it. So, you know, Tyler takes it very literal, and he takes a lot of pride into making this church better. So that was a really interesting thing. Tyler does meet Poppy. She is a confident and sharp woman from a wealthy East Coast family. Poppy's mini story: she did flee from her life. She was tired of the hypocrisy from her parents. She once worked as an elite adult club dancer, later becoming a remote business consultant. Tyler, after a confessional with Poppy, struggles with vivid erotic fantasies about Poppy, which eventually their chemistry does grow. They have coffee. Man, this is not a Night Court narrative video if I don't fucking have a stroke every single video, right? They share chemistry, and they have interactions with coffee shop encounters, literary chats, shared moments at the church. This is where Poppy volunteers. Eventually, they do give into physical and emotional intense affair. And then their love challenges Tyler's identity and faith. Poppy represents freedom and emotional truth, but their relationship forces Tyler to question whether he can reconcile his vows with his heart. Obviously seeking guidance, Tyler confesses his situation to his mentor. We have Father Jordan, who assures him that God's love is not conditional. Conflict arises when Poppy's manipulative ex, we have Sterling Hartford III, what a pompous fucking name, he now appears, threatens to blackmail them with photos of their intimate moments, unless of course Poppy returns back to New York as his mistress. Poppy of course refuses, but to protect Tyler from his downfall, she pretends to rekindle things with Sterling, pushing Tyler away. Their physical relationship does deepen, and when Poppy takes Tyler to her former club, obviously role playing as client and dancer. There, she guides him into a space where he can explore both his dominance and vulnerability, fulfilling Poppy's desires while also confronting his own. Months later, almost towards the end, Tyler does leave the priesthood and moves to New Jersey to begin a PhD program. He visits Sterling and learns that Poppy rejected and humiliated him. Sterling, of course, bitter, had released the photos. Tyler does find Poppy in the Queens, where she now runs a free dance studio for kids. I did really think that was kind of cool. And then Poppy reveals that she pushed him away to avoid wrecking his life, but Tyler does believe that was obviously some part of God's plan for him all along. They obviously talk about their love and they reclaim their faith on their own terms, and yeah. We do get an epilogue that's narrated by Poppy. They are preparing to marry one another, which of course, that's when Midnight Mass comes in. I will like very, very, very briefly talk about Midnight Mass, but Midnight Mass is about, let me see. Midnight Mass is... It kind of picks up years later after the priest, following Tyler and Poppy as they navigate married life. Tyler does study at Princeton and Poppy runs a dance studio. Obviously, their love deepens, thickens, whatever you want to say. But so does the pressure of Tyler's religious calling and his devotion to Poppy. When old temptations obviously guilt Tyler, he must confront his faith, and yeah. I'm gonna start with Midnight Mass first. Midnight Mass is book 1.5. This is after the priest. I DNF this after chapter 3. I think Midnight Mass is absolutely garbage. It's garbage. I don't think a book ever deserves 0 stars, so I did give this book a 1 star, or like Midnight Mass, that is. I did give that a 1 star. The entire first 3 chapters, and I'm being so serious, the first 3 chapters are, Poppy, where are you? I'm at work. Where are you? I'm at work. Come fuck me. And then they have sex. And then, oh my god, I'm so mad because Tyler's at work and he doesn't love me. Self-pleasure, self-pleasure, self-pleasure. And then they're like, oh my god, we're together, blah. And then Tyler's like, Poppy, where are you? Self-pleasure, self-pleasure, self-pleasure. Like, that is literally, I understand it's a dark romance, I get that, but oh my fucking god. Like, oh my god, get a fucking life. I'm so sorry, that was really mean, but like, holy shit. Like, Midnight Mass is only... Actually, I have it behind me, I can look, but Midnight Mass is only like maybe 80 pages long, maybe 100 pages max, and the first like 30 pages of the book was just smacks. Whether it was self-done or like as a partnership, it was just smacks. There was very little like world building as far as how their lives are going. Like, they do talk a little bit about her dance and a little bit about his studying, but it was very little. It was all just, what can I do? Oh my god, I'm so hard. I'm just like, okay, I'm fed the fuck up. So finally, I think it was chapter 3. I ended up getting to chapter 3. I skimmed the first paragraph and it literally immediately started again with the smexy time, and I was like, I'm fucking done. So I ended up DNFing that book. That's the only book in the series that I did DNF, though, by the way. So once you come back to the other videos, yeah. At least, yeah. Oh, that coffee is good. Anyway. Moving on with The Priest. I did thoroughly enjoy this book. I did find it a little unusual. I don't usually like books that have anything to do with religion. It's not necessarily my cup of tea. I try and do everything I can to stay away from that, actually, because it just doesn't... as someone that doesn't do anything about religion, it just really turns me off, and I don't know. But with that being said, obviously I've never been a religious person, and I have never, obviously, in my right mind, ever thought I would be reading a book about all religion. But if I'm being honest, especially in Barnes and Noble, Target, I have walked past this book more times than I can count, and I turned a blind eye towards it and ignored it because of the topic and what I assumed it was about. But I was wrong, and I know when to admit when I was wrong, but I will gladly admit that this book was fantastic. The writing style was so very, very well done and very easy to digest. I really love Sierra's writing style. It's not how do I phrase that? It's not the most like different writing style. Like, I'm pretty sure you can find other writing styles like this. Like, you can find similar writing styles in other authors too. But the way that she phrases things and the way that she describes things, it is very fresh, very unique, and very, I mean, I know I just said it, but fresh. Like, that is the best word that I could use to describe it. She doesn't go out of her way to copy other authors. She kind of just does her own thing, and she creates this flow and this vibe. And I don't know, I really enjoyed her writing style. I did love the romance aspect. I love the spice. Although I do feel like the spice was a tad bit overkill. When I literally mean, at the beginning of this book, we got a lot about the religion and about the priesthood, and then Poppy came in. There was a little bit of spice already, and I'm like, okay, you know what? I can kind of fuck with this. And then they start sneaking around. There's more spice. I'm like, you know what? Cool. And then the next chapter, spice. And then the next chapter, spice. And then the next chapter, spice. And can you just semi-guess what the next chapter was? Oh, and let's add some spice. And, I'm just like, bro, like, okay, I get it. I get it. Oh, okay, I get it. It gave me that very much vibe. And I'm just like, okay, like, it was a bit overkill. I kind of was enjoying the story as far as like the characters go, the priesthood goes, the struggle with his religion. I did surprisingly enjoy all of that. And I feel like the story was mudded super, super quick by the amount of spice that was happening throughout the book. I just don't really think that I got to see the full potential of what this book could be, but that is neither here nor there, I guess. I did find myself wanting more of the plot, as I just said, rather than just straight smut. The smut didn't necessarily hurt the book, in my opinion. I just, as mentioned, I really loved what was going on in the background. I really do think that if she rewrote this book and lessened the amount of spice, that would easily be like a 10 out of 10 rating. I wholeheartedly think that would make this book a billion times better. I did want a little bit more development, which, don't get me wrong, we did get a lot of development throughout the book. We did get a lot of development from Poppy. We did get a lot of development, obviously, from Tyler, and his struggles on the sexuality part and the religion part. So I do appreciate that. I just wish we got a little bit more development. I basically mean as like the background and the priesthood. I do want a little bit more development of the church and the volunteering, and I wanted a little bit more development with their relationship, not the spice part of their relationship. I just wanted more of the romance aspect of their relationship. I wanted to know more about what was happening as far as their feelings towards one another and what's going on in their headspace, both equally. And I wanted to hear a little bit more about what they thought was going on versus, obviously, Tyler's struggle with his religion and his struggle with his priesthood. And then I wanted to see kind of like what Poppy was thinking about when Sterling came into the picture and how she wanted to protect Tyler and all that. And I understand that she did end up at the end telling Tyler what happened, but it was just clouded and got completely mudded by the fact that there was just spice on spice on spice on spice. And I do think, and I have said this before, I understand this is a dark romance. I understand that there's going to be a ton of spice. I understand it's going to be vulgar. I understand. I get that. I love dark romance. That's why I read it. But I do think there comes a point where the dark romance isn't even dark romance anymore. It's just straight Pornhub with slight narration. You know what I mean? And like, again, to each their own. I did think the book was fantastic. I did like it. I just personally wish I had less of that and more plot. I do think this book was very well written to the point where more plot wouldn't have actually made the book suffer. It might have done better. But yeah, this book was such a fun read. It's definitely a book that I'm going to remember for a long time because, you know, as mentioned, I did ignore it for a long time. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to read some fucking religious book. No. And now I read it. I have the entire series on my bookshelf behind me. Absolutely love it. One of the spicy scenes I did kind of like, and I don't know how to say it because, again, I know nothing about religion, but they are in the church, kind of like, okay, so I'm gonna base it off of movies because I don't visit church, so I don't know, but like, you know, in the movies how they have like the altar, they have like the little booths that you sit at, and like they have all the candles lit, and you go to the candles and like you either sit in the booth and pray, or you like sit on the floor and you pray, right? Does that make sense? And like there's like usually like a statue of like Jesus or whomever, right? Maybe. Everyone is like, I know if Aqua watches this video, he's just fucking face palming right now. I'm sorry, I'm trying my best. Anyway, so they're in that. I can't remember which one. I think Poppy was the one that was praying, and then I think Tyler went to go pray, or maybe it was vice versa. But anyway, they ended up meeting one another. Like the person walks in, the other person is there, and they end up getting down and dirty right there in front of the statue. And it was a really good scene. Now, I obviously know that if you're not into this like type of book or this type of topic, or if you're super religious and this book is one that offends you, obviously that chapter is like sacrilege. Obviously that was the point, but that was such a good spicy scene. I really 1000% wholeheartedly think the spice in this book was fantastic. I loved it. This was one of my favorite books with spice in it. However, as I mentioned, after the first like 3 spice chapters, I no longer cared. I no longer gave a fuck because it was so overly repetitive and so overly done. Like at some point it gets to a point, even in like real life, it gets to a point where if you wake up, have smecks. You go make yourself a coffee, come upstairs, have smecks. Let's say you have to go out, run an errand, you come home, have smecks. You then sit down to eat lunch. After lunch, have smecks. You get up, go watch a TV show. Oh, fuck, the movie's over. Let's have smecks. And then, like, oh, man, it's dinner time. Let me cook. Oh, have smecks during making dinner. Okay, dinner's done. Oh, man, I'm full. Have smecks. Oh, damn. Okay, let's watch another movie before bed. Have smecks. Okay, now we're in bed. Have smecks. Okay, good night. Middle of the night. Have smecks. Good morning. Bro, it was so fucking overbearing and it was so overly done. I just wanted to bash my head against the wall. And mind you, I did still give this book a 5-star rating. I do think what was written in this book was written very well. Midnight Mass, different story, hated it. I think I hated it because of what I'm saying right now, but this book was so very well done. But there comes a point where it is too much. It is too much. Like, god damn, let the fucking girl breathe, Tyler. Let her breathe. Fine. It's fine. No, I really enjoyed this book, and I'm very glad I read it, and I do suggest reading this for anyone that hasn't read it. I know there's a lot of people out there that possibly didn't like the book, and that is okay too. If you did not like the book, I would really love to hear why. And I would absolutely, I would love to have that conversation with you. So I guess with that being said, if you guys loved this book, if you guys hated this book, let me know your favorite part. Let me know the reason why you DNF'd it. Let me know the reason why you made, or why the book made you stop liking it, because I am so very interested. This was a phenomenal read. As I mentioned, I did read these previously, so I already have the other two books read as well. I guess this is a spoiler, but Saint was my all-time favorite in the book, and I believe I might actually record that video right after I end this one. So definitely keep an eye out for that video. But yeah, if you loved it, let me know why. If you hated it, let me know why. I'm definitely down for a conversation on both sides. And as always, I am Elvish. This is Violet next to me. I hope that you guys have such a wonderful day. Please, please, please get some water, get some snacks. Self-care is very important to me. And yeah, I'm so sorry. I wish I had more to say, but that's literally all this book was. The first part of this book was like, okay, plot. But then it got so mudded. Like, literally, it was just spice. Like, there's nothing you can say about this book, because everything and anything that you could say about this book has to revolve around the spice. And I can't talk about it for more than like maybe 20 minutes, you know? So I am sorry that this was kind of a short video, but until next time, I hope y'all have a very wonderful day, and I will see you next time, yeah? Bye.